What's happening, family? Just wanted to come to you real quick. Me and nephew Mike trying out a new piece of software. We're going to try to use this as a part of our teaching tool and a new platform that we're going to bring. And this is something that I was talking to you about, you guys, a little earlier, that we would like to have some of you come on and share some of your viewpoints. And we were just trying to find a proper platform where we could have a number of people rather than just a few. So, we're in here, we're trying out this software. We just want to welcome you in. Nephew is in here with me. But there's a couple of things that, I wanted to touch on. We're basically, wanting to bring this platform, my sort of ideas, the things that I look at and the things that I approach, even in the music, are social issues along with religious issues, and see how they lay across the people. What's being done politically that's getting us step by step, incrementally toward the end goal that scriptures talk about. So I continually say that scripture tells us what's going to happen in the beginning, in the middle, and the end, but there's these gaps in the middle. Between the beginning and the middle, there's a huge space in there of a chronological time of things that occur that got them to the middle. And from getting to the middle to the end, there's a lot of different things that occur and take place in the middle of that to get you to that end goal. And so we know what the end is, and the scripture tells us what the end is, but it doesn't tell us all the little incremental things that are being done to get us there. And this is why we watch politics, to see what laws they pass and what little things they do inch by inch and piece by piece in order to get us there. So that's part of what I'm approaching, is the religious and the social side of it. And nephew Mike likes to handle the political side of it. And so we want to bring that together, my thoughts, his thoughts, the music, the things that we're doing, what I do musically, what he does musically. These are the sort of things that we talk about. And that's what this platform will be. And so we've got some slots on the side, as you can see, a few more that are open that can be filled up. So there's places for you to get into this talk if you like. But we're utilizing scripture, as you can see here. I'm bringing up the screen. We're looking at Genesis 15:13, in which I'm talking to Hebrew people. This is what happened to an ancestor foretelling a future of a people, of a seed, of a bloodline. And so he said unto Abraham, know of a surety that thy seed shall be a stranger in a land that is, if you see that's in italics, it's italicized, not theirs, and shall serve them. Semicolon. Okay? Now, when they translated these scriptures, there were no verses and chapters and commas and colons and semicolons and periods. However, those things are used in American English to help convey the idea of the context of the verbiage that you're seeing on the page. So you've got to use them in order to understand what this writer was trying to talk about. Now also, you'll notice that I've got the Strong's Concordance up here in my eSword. I continually tell you guys, get an eSword. If you don't already have a Strong's Concordance, I've got the Strong's Concordance, the book as well. And so you can look and you can use your Strong's to see what the writer meant when it was written. Translation is back to the Hebrew and the Greek, because it was written in Hebrew first. It was not written in English. So you can't lean to the English for your understanding. You cannot. And a ton of preachers today, this is what they do. They lean to English for their understanding, and you can't. So he said they're going to be a stranger in a land that is not theirs, and shall serve them, and they shall afflict them 400 years. Okay, so there's a huge talk that's going on right now about this 400 years, and we'll get into that, because it's something that's really prevalent right now. You probably already know what I'm talking about, because Trump just signed the bill. They just signed it into enactment. 400 years, black people in the United States. But we'll go deeper into that, because I have other things to show you as well. But anyway, this is basically just a 20-minute overview. We're just trying to use the software and say hello, and then let you guys see what it is that we're doing. I'm gonna bring nephew Mike in right now. and let him tell you about what he wants to do with the politics.
So as Uncle Don said, what we want to do with the politics is we want to be able to tie the two together. We want to be able to give you a look at the scripture and connect the dots in a real world manner as looking at everyday politics and how things are working in the world with geopolitics, not just in America, but globally. Because this is a global event that's going on as it is written. And I think there's a lot of people out there that are lost, a lot of people that are looking for answers. And with that and with this platform, that's what we want to deliver to you. And so as time goes on, I'm constantly digging through different types of news, looking for different types of keywords, looking at Drudge Report, looking at InfoWars, looking at CNN, looking at every platform you could possibly look at and dissecting, connecting dots, seeing what's being said, what's not being said, the path based on the word of where the direction is going, watching it in real time, delivering it in real time. Hold on.
Okay, yeah. No. I'm still here. Yeah, and that's where we're going with this. That's the whole idea, is to try to put together this platform, build this thing, and do this thing in a way that people can receive. All right. So you might find that we might come to you from various different locations. Don't be swayed by the locations. He's in the car right now driving. Okay. And so I'm right now in the drum room, but I could be in another location. Even when the summertime comes, I'm more than likely to be down in the park again, like I do in the summer, going down to the concert series concert in the park. And that's where I talk to most of the Hebrews I encounter, and try to see where they are and what their thought processes are. Because the first thing I want to know is, are they stuck in Christianity? And the majority of us were, right? We were taught this from our grandparents, I have to know where you are so I know where to start. And, my focus has been a lot, really my focus, dealing with my family. They'll tell you, my sisters especially, because trying to explain to them, because of Willie Lynch, this is the reason why you are the woman that you are today. Okay, so I'm not going to go into all of that right now, but brainwashing and programming is a very serious thing. It's so very serious that the federal government has used it for years. And that's something that Mike would love to go into you with, because we talk about that quite often. And, he has a lot of knowledge in that area in the background. And we talk about that because he's former military. And there's things that I discover that I bounce off of him. And then I have another friend who is very high ranking. I won't name his name, but very high ranking. Mike and I both know him. And in the 80s, when I was getting into my flight simulators and flying missions over Iraq, right, he came into a room one day about an hour before my band's rehearsal. He was my manager also at the time. And saw me flying this flight simulator in my planes. And he was like, yeah, we've got that, man. We've had that for like about 15 years. And I was like, you have what? Now, see, I was just getting into it. I didn't even know. But basically, he was telling me that they already had the drone capability back then. That was in the 80s. Okay, we talk about things now, but that stuff that was old then, he'll go ahead and freely talk about. But, if it's something that's new, he might just mention it off the cuff, but he won't go into detail. But, even in the 80s, I knew about drones. He walked in the room and told me about it. I didn't have no idea what he was talking about, though. I didn't have no idea what he was talking about, but he told me about it. It wasn't until drone technology started to come forward that I realized, oh my God, he told me about that back then. So I knew about it beforehand. So that's just to say that there are people with a knowledge, and you might just think he's an everyday person, just an everyday dude, but he's been some places, he's seen some things. And that's one of the reasons why, I love talking to nephew Mike, because as, former military, he's seen some things more than I have, right? Even though he's younger than me, he went to places where I refused to go. Okay, now You know, there's just a life choice. I didn't want to do military because I saw what military did to my family. I saw family come back affected from military life, and so I didn't want that for myself. However, I do have friends, you know, and very close ones who have gone and who have survived it. And another thing, you know, when we get into the vaccines and things like that, well, it might tell you about that, how they force that on the military personnel. You know, they use them as guinea pigs, you know, to test it, and that's something else. We've got some other information that we're going to bring forward to you, so you can see other individuals who are showing that the federal government does use its general populace as a giant biolab. They try it on us. They test it on us, and it's okayed by Congress, and it's okayed by the Supreme Court. I mean, we'll show you these things. That's what this platform is about. We want to show you where we're living and who we are and how we're living in this, right? So you have to make informed decisions. You have to look around. It's more than just spirituality. A lot of people can wake up every day and they will go off to church because they have that level of spirituality. They want to believe in a higher power. They want to call his name Jesus, right? And the Father knows that you speak English, and so Yeshua would be translated into Jesus. But when you put a picture behind it of someone who doesn't exist, now you're changing who your God is, okay? So you're no longer looking at your Father. You're looking at something else that someone else gave you, right? So it matters what you're looking at. You know, so when I tell you that Jesus wasn't blonde hair, blue eyed, or whatever, some people fall over backwards, okay? But it's okay if you fall over backwards, and it's all right with me if you get mad. But the thing of it is, I have to show you how what you originally had was taken from you and represented to you, and you said, okay, it only takes 3 generations for you to lose your culture, your heritage, your language, and everything else, right? And after we got Willie lynched, it was so easy. Right? But see, we forget to connect the dots, and that's what Nephew Mike was talking about, connecting the dots. That's what we're doing over here. We're going to use this platform to connect a few dots. You can agree or you can disagree. It's okay. Scriptures say, let every man work out his own salvation. That includes woman. Okay? So you work out yours. This is just our journey, and we're taking you along with us. Okay? So hope you can stand it. Hope you can stand up. But this is what we're going to do. And we'll talk to you next time. Parting words, nephew?
Look forward to seeing everybody there. Thank you.
There you go.